Step into the light and reality and be bing, mm, 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 All right, I'm going to touch a topic. Nigeria is not a real place. See, Africans hate detail and they hate specificity. What are you talking about? It's not a real place. You ignorant, ignorant. See, when you say things to melanated men, instead of out researching you, they insult you. Nigeria is not a real place. It is a place white people invented. When you look at history, when you look at history, when you look at the 15th and 14th century, you will find something very weird. Let me say it again for the people who just joined. Please click the thumb button. I'm finna blow your mind. Nigeria is not a real place. You ever notice how we here in America, we say, hey, I don't really carry my last name because my last name is not my true African name. It's the white man's name. Let me tell you, Nigeria is a white word invented by a white king. Yet, don't you find it amazing people call themselves Nigerians? Let's dig into this. People call themselves Nigerians, but it is not a real place. Let me explain it this way. And this is why people hate the history detail. I even go on Home Team channel. I try to school him on stuff. I go over to Mahat's channel, try to school him on stuff. Not because I want to be right. It's just what the documentation says. When you look at your Bible, the Tower of Babylon, when you look at your Bible, the well, not the Tower of Babylon, the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel and Babylon are located in the same place. The Tower of Babel and Babylon is located in the same place. That's in the northern side of Iraq. Where do you think Nimrod was? See, I'm giving you these names so you can go check it out yourself. You don't have to listen to a speech from me try to convince you. You can go check it out yourself. Evening, Gravity, Kid Gravity, what's going on? So Nigeria is not a real place. Nigeria, when you look at the 14th century and the 15th century, yes, I am quoting you dates. When you look at the 14th century and the 15th century, there's something strange that happened. White bishops visited Africa, that region of Africa, for the first time, trying to bring Christianity to. See, you know what? Here's something that you guys don't understand about aristocrats. Aristocrats would send out these friars and these pastors and these bishops just to see if they can convince the people to give away everything they have. And, the pastors would go out there under the thought process that they're bringing Christianity, when in actuality, the king is using them as scouts to see how gullible the people are. Nigeria is not a real place. Nigeria is not a real place. We have proof Nigeria is not a real place because when you look at the 14th century and the 15th century, it's a different name. It's an African name. This is why there were no tribes. See, all this tribalism that's going on in that region, that's white man created. Those tribes did not exist in the 14th century. Those tribes did not exist. You know how Nigerians try to say, I'm from this tribe, I'm from that. Those tribes did not exist in the 14th century. What is the 14th century? 5 lifetimes ago. 5 lifetimes ago, that did not exist. It did not exist until the slave trade started happening. It did not exist until the slave trade started happening. Isn't that weird how Africa keeps the racism alive by not knowing its own history? Here's the only when you give Nigerians this type of information, you're stupid, you're ignorant. See, that's all they can say. I don't need to go look it up. It is a place, it is obviously there. See, just fighting to keep the white man's system in place. This is what the white man understands about Africans. They are willing to keep the white man's system in place by not knowing history. See, I understand the strength of the white man. The strength of the white man, he knows fairy tales and he knows history and he knows who's not checking for history. He did it to the Latinos in Spain. He did it to the Latins, telling them a story, making it up. Because if Spain understood that they were more connected to Africa than to whites, this is why whites created the term phenotype. Phenotype was not on planet Earth until the Greeks created it. Anybody want to disagree? Press the 1. Press the 1. Anybody want to disagree? There was no such thing as phenotype. There was no such thing as Nigeria until the slave trade happened. It's a white created word. Because in the 14th century, it was 2 kingdoms. There was no tribes. There were 2 kingdoms in that area. There were no tribes. So this is how we know tribalism is a white person created thing in that area. You had 2 kings running that whole section. Was no tribes. The white man came and invented all that. The white man came and invented the term Nigeria. No, I'm willing to, if somebody wants to disagree, come right on up. The white man came and invented the term Nigeria. I will give you the microphone. But just don't call me names. Just don't tell me I need to go get educated. Prove what I'm saying is incorrect. Don't call me names. Don't tell me I'm uneducated. I'm a 3.8 honor student. Don't tell me I'm uneducated. That's just ridiculous. That's just a waste of microphone time. Calling me names, telling me I'm ridiculous. What you need to do is get your best African person and come up. Let's have this discussion. So they can say, after 15 minutes of trying to tell you something else, yes, Mr. Researcher's right. Nigeria is a white created land. It's not an African land. There were no tribes in the 14th century. This is all white created. Now that you understand it's white created, now you're starting to understand why Africans work against Black concepts. Now you're starting to realize why Africans work against other Africans on this, I'm from this tribe, I'm from that tribe. You're not. The white man created those tribes. You're not from those areas. The white man created those tribes. So it's impossible for you to be from Nigeria. It's impossible for you to be from a particular tribe because your great-grandfather was not part of any of that. Your great-great 3 times removed grandfather, he don't know nothing about no Nigeria. Because there was no place called Nigeria when great-great-great-grandfather was alive. That's white created. And we know because the 1400s, the same area is called Nari. and the other half of the area is called Igbo. There is no Nigeria. So where did Nigeria come from? Where did Nigeria come from? Well, according to the documented information, it says 1914. But I'm going to go beyond that. I'm going to say it happened around 1520 because we know the King of England had took over that area by that time and had a slave trading post. He paid Nigerians to go out and find other Nigerians. He paid Nigerians to go out and find other wayward Africans, trap them, and enslave them for profit. We know that because there's a trading post in Nigeria. Badagry. Badagry is still a town in Nigeria, but Badagry was the trading post. Matter of fact, there's a museum out there, was the trading post for capturing slaves. Now, according to the bishops and their own documentation, they didn't go out to the outskirts. They paid they paid the Africans because of the mosquitoes and all this other stuff. They couldn't go out there and trap people. They had to pay Africans to go trap and hunt down Africans. Africans are the reason for racism. Me too. Look, I'm not going to just put it on people. Me too. When we out here, ADOS Americans, and we sitting up here killing each other on the block, shooting each other up, fist fighting each other, verbally arguing, we are the reason also. When I say Africans, I mean all of us dudes who are melanated. We keep this crap alive. You can argue all you want to, but we keep this crap alive. We're the reason this stuff goes the way it goes. Okay, Nigerians hate to admit the major hand they played. Oh, yeah. And you know what? Big brother in life, I hope you can come up. I'm going to drop the link. I hope you can come up because here's the funny thing. We can quote the date that they did it. We can quote the date that they did it. '14th century, early 1520. These dudes is out there capturing people. Nobody can deny it. Nigeria is not a real place. Nigeria is something the white king labeled your land as, even though your land already had an African name. Let me say it again. Nigeria is a place. If you claim you're Nigerian, you're against being black because you're using a white terminology for your land. Africans don't like history. If you're calling yourself Nigerian, you're anti-black because that's not the original name of your land. That's the white king's version of your land. Hello? Crickets? That's not, Nigeria is not what you are. You're not a Nigerian. You had an African name for your land. Now here's somebody hit the thumbs down. See, you see, it's just one person hitting the thumb down. They don't want to come up and have the conversation. What they want to do is what the Ku Klux Klan does, which is strike from a distance and strike from safety. If you had any courage as a warrior, you'd come up, hold the discussion so people can hear how crazy your ideology sounds. Nigeria is not a real place. You sound ignorant. You sound unintelligent. That's all you can do. Now that you've called me a bunch of names, pick up the microphone and explain to the people how Mr. Research is wrong. First of all, blah, 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 and yak, 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 yak. Yak, 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 and blah, blah, blah. He is crazy. He is insane. He doesn't even look like he has a woman. He needs to do some more education. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. I'm tired of talking now. Okay, sir, but you never did answer the question. I did answer the question. No, sir, you just insulted me the whole time. And you told me how I need to do research, but you never debunked the fact that I said 1400, you had a different name and that you're using a white name. I did address that. No, you didn't, sir. You called me ignorant. You called me all these names, but you did not get intellectual. This is a problem we always have. And the reason I'm having this conversation is because I want to help bridge our gaps. But in order for us to bridge our gaps, we got to have honest conversations. It can't be the conversation where the African insults the American and tells him how dumb he is, how what he don't know. Have you been to Africa? That's always the new explanation for everything. Have you been to Africa? No, sir. I'm reading about your history. Okay, I'm reading about your history, and me going to Africa is going to do what? Most of the things you guys have there, according to your own research, has been you don't even teach your own children about the fact that you had a different name for the region that you live. Matter of fact, I would love for an African to come up here and tell me that. Why do you have a different name for the area that your great grandfather grew up in? Your great grandfather knows nothing about Nigeria because the place was not called Nigeria. So my question to you is, what do you have to say about that? Let's have an educated conversation. You're not Nigerian, so you're calling yourself something the white man told you. From now on, you are not from Nari. From now on, let me ask my prostitute. What name should I give this new land? It's Nari. Call it Nigeria. Call it Nigeria. Oh, okay, absolutely. From now on, you black devils are Nigerian. Oh, okay. Thank you, white man. Thank you. From now on, I'm going to call myself Nigerian. I call my children Nigerian. Right? Now, here comes the division. Here comes the tribalism. The people that catch slaves versus the people that help the white man versus people that, and everybody takes on a different language. Because now here's where classism is coming into play. When you start to look at how people come up with these different tribal things, it all comes back to doing what? We got to please this white man. And, for the white man, what he's doing is smart. Because for the white man, he's saying, watch these slaves. Look, it's even in the bishop's documents where he says, it's too hot for us to track after the African slave to make them slaves. So we just get the slaves to do it. They want to work. They want a shiny coin. I had a shiny penny in my hand. The African Nigerian never saw a shiny penny before, so I made that happen. Huh? That's it? Yep, that's all. Wow. So he did it all for a shiny penny? Now, I'm going to take a business call. I know 20 of you guys are watching. I'm going to come back to this after my business call because I got a 3:00 business call. But we're going to come back to this. Leave your comment in the comment section. Don't be afraid to leave your comment. Don't get mad at what Africans say. I'm going to start disabling the chat room because I want you guys to put this in the comment section. We got to start having these difficult conversations with Africans. Okay? Because start having these difficult what's going on with Africa, we could be so much better. Man, I'm staying on this African thing real hardcore, wacky, real hardcore, because in order for us to get better, C.A. Latreille got to be one of the forefront people talking about Africa and holding Africa accountable. Wacky, there's no such thing as Nigeria. Wacky. There's no such kid gravity. There's no such thing as Nigeria. Big brother in life. There's no such thing as Nigeria because a white man created that term. That's not the original African term for that land. And because a white man created that term, he also created the tribes that are there, pitting them once against each other. Whoever worked for this white man was called this. Whoever worked for this white man was called that. This is what it is. So when people call themselves Nigerian, my question to me, why are you using a white man created terminology? Send this to your friends. I dare you. Send this to your Twitter. Send this to your Facebook. I want every African to hear this. Now I got to go to my 3 o'clock call. Much love to y'all. I will be back after my 3 o'clock call. Peace.